So here's part two. I won't say much because you've watched part one and you've had my waffle, of course. But again, please like, please subscribe. It makes a massive difference if you share this, just huge. It can double the figures. So if you can share this, that'd be great. And then I'll be able to review more stuff, do more interviews, and spend more time producing this show. So let's get on with it. My interview with Marc Spelmann, part two.
After doing BGT the first time round, and like, this is on the subject of trolls and all this kind of stuff, because you do get it. I mean,
Yeah, I want you to talk about that. Actually,
yeah,
yeah.
so I mean, God, there was one person that on Facebook, and they said this was just so, I don't know who this person was, but they put up this post saying, I think this is disgusting. I think that the wife continued selfishly to try to get pregnant when she had cancer. And you're going, no, oh God, you're so, no, she was, and you kind of go, I haven't got time to explain this to
No.
everybody. She was pregnant first and then developed cancer. And then there's someone else that sort of said, oh God, another bloody sob story. Can only imagine what the trip would have been if the kid died. And you kind of go, what did you
But
say?
how do you,
Like, what do you say that? You can't say
yeah.
that. And one of the things, like Damien O'Brien is on BGT this year, and Damien's a friend. He's on Facebook, and I think it's no big secret that Damien's been quite open about having depression issues
Mm.
over a period of time. And one of the things that I did straight away was I sent Damien a message to say, look, I just want to give you a quick call because I knew his audition was going to air. And I just want a quick call. And I just phoned him. I said, listen, look, I know you have some of these challenges, we all do, we all have different challenges and all that. But listen, you've really got to make sure, don't gravitate to the one person in the room that says the negative
Mm.
stuff. Gravitate to the ones that are, that are happy for your success. Don't question the person that has said anything negative. And this was a learning curve for me. And that was, because I can be deeply hurt by
Mm.
if someone doesn't like me, or Tessa's much stronger than me, much tougher in that way. And Tessa was really quite worried when I did BGT. Tessa would try to shield me from some of the things people were saying on Twitter, but I would find it, I would see it some way or another. 2 o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning, scrolling through Twitter and stuff and finding this stuff. And, I learned a lot from it. And I learned, it toughened me up. I mean, boy, did my skin thicken. In a space of
Yeah.
like 8 hours after that audition aired, my skin really thickened. And I think now, I'm a lot more, having gone through what we've gone through, I'm a lot more empathic. My empathy is much higher. I try to sort of analyze and empathize with people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Every situation that I see in life, I try, why would someone be that way? Even when it's completely unrelated to me, something in the paper, what has led that person to be in that situation, be it as a victim or the bad person or whatever, And then I started to apply that the same with trolls, with people that would say bad things. And I think to myself, I could never say that to a person. I could never say to someone, whether I didn't like them or didn't like what they did or
Mm.
whatever, I could never say that to someone about their child in any way, like, whoever they were, no matter who they were. And I just couldn't do it. And so then I started to sort of think, where must they be? And maybe that's a coping mechanism. Maybe some of them are absolutely fine. Maybe it's a bit sort of patronizing to think that every troll is this person that sits there and wishes their life was better. Maybe some of them are just nasty people that are a bit spiteful,
Yeah.
but I like to veer more towards that. I think to be that angry, that spiteful, or that vindictive, either one, you are hurting and something really has affected you in your life. Maybe things haven't gone the way that you've tried so desperately hard for them to go, and this is your way of, you know, slapping out. I don't
Yeah.
know, punching outwards. Or maybe there's, which has been proven sometimes with some trolls is that there's a slight mental disorder, something
Yeah.
that's not quite right in your world, and it's, you know, and I don't know, you know, so that's how I try to look at them with a bit more empathy and almost feel a little bit sorry for whatever's happened. I don't know what. I'm not going to patronize you. I'm not going to investigate it. I'm just going to put that down to maybe something not being quite good in your life. And that worked so well for me, because even this year as X, I took the mask off, got such a great response, and it was viral. It trended on #1 in YouTube. I don't know if you're a boxing person. I'm massive on boxing. So
I know you are. Yeah, no, I'm not. But
Anthony Joshua lost his title to Andy Ruiz, which was massive. And I remember someone getting in contact with me saying, "Have you seen Anthony Joshua trending on YouTube? He's lost." And I went, "Yeah, of course." He went, "No, go there now." And I went there and I clicked on like trending on YouTube, and #1 is Marc Spelmann reveals his true identity as well. #2 is Anthony John. I was like, what? Trending #1, like me going, hello.
yeah.
And so it was the weirdest thing. But even still, I'm on Twitter and there's loads of lovely things. We kind of go, oh, that's lovely, love that. And this one woman goes, oh, I remember this idiot from last year. She goes, I didn't like him then, and I don't like him now, right? And you sort of think, wow, God, like, what did I do other than hopefully a trick that you weren't quite sure how?
Yeah.
Told you a bit of story about, you know, it's been a bit tough for us, you know, and then I've kind of gone like incognito and gone, aha, you know, and gone, I don't like you. You go, wow.
I know. What was I watching the other day? Ricky Gervais has got that really funny thing that he does about in one of his live shows. He does about it's like someone that gets sort of angry on YouTube is like someone seeing a poster for guitar lessons on the wall and going, "I don't want guitar lesson," you know.
I know that. I love Ricky Gervais. I'm a massive fan of Ricky Gervais.
I just think it's just like, what draws you to kind of it's like I get affected, man. You know, I'm kind of new to the and I've got low. This is a small channel, really. You know, but I've still got to get. And I am. Don't get me wrong. When my DVD first came out, which was very flawed, it was a long time ago, and somebody didn't like that, and I remember it got really upset because someone was talking about my list and saying I was slobbering all over my audience members and stuff. And when I actually stopped and thought about it, I thought, it's just some kid. It's just some kid. But you get this image of, well, maybe they've got a point. You know, it's kind of, you kind of get drawn in and you create a mental picture of who they are. And I think that if you're insecure, as I am sometimes, as I think as performers, maybe a lot of us are, deep down, even when we grow that thick skin, is that we can kind of look at that and go, you know, and almost empathize with it, which is, not empathizing with saying that maybe they're having problems, but empathize with their point. And I think that that's the danger. If you
you absolutely start to question it. You're going to go, yeah, maybe that was, maybe, oh God, what did I do? You know, totally. 100%. And I think as well, this is one of the things that I try to explain to Tessa sometimes, because Tessa will sort of say to me, why do you get so affected by it? Because years ago, when me and Tessa very first got together, my DVDs came out in 2004. So on the subject of DVDs, I have the chapters of Marc Spelmann, where I'm about half the weight that I'm about 10 stone.
This is the Alakazam thing.
Yeah.
Peter Nutter, yeah.
And with Peter Nutter, he's a really great friend of mine. And we did those DVDs, and we got a podcast where we speak about it. But
yeah, I want to.
People don't realise about is that we did 4 DVDs naively in one day. Right? Well,
yeah, I know.
We speak about this on the podcast where we sort of go, we sat there and we sort of went, right, okay, how long is that routine, Mark? I went, about 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes. He goes, right, okay, so that's 3.5 minutes, okay. And then the next routine, let's probably get all 4 DVDs done in about 6 hours with a lunch break. And you go, no, it's so long. Like nowadays, a one-trick DVD, you're filming performances one day and then the explanation the next day.
Yeah.
So, but my DVDs came out. So just on the subject of that, and then Michael Close in Magic Magazine absolutely tore me.
Oh,
to shreds.
I
Like,
couldn't
like
deal.
you would not believe. I mean, ripped. And it was at the point where someone sort of went, "Have you seen my closest review?" And I was like, "No." And I got Magic Magazine. I'm reading it. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, and I was like, "Geez." Go like, one would question. I think there was something like one would question whether or not he's actually even a professional. And you're going,
Oh
"Oh,"
God,
but no,
just
but I
that
mean,
feeling.
it was the worst, you know. And I actually really liked Michael Close up to that point. I had his L&L stuff and his,
Yeah.
you know, and I thought, yeah, he's got some really clever things. And I just went, wow, Jesus. And so then Peter was really annoyed about it. And we then did sort of this counter advert that we were going to put in Magic Magazine and all the glowing reviews from Banachek and Larry Becker and all that. And at the end of it, we were going to have a quote from Michael Close going, "I just don't get it." Right.
Yeah.
And then just sort of going, "There you go," sort of thing. And then with me, what happens is in that moment, I'm really like defensive and I
Yeah.
get, you know, and I'm like, "Oh," you know, like,
Yeah.
and, but then afterwards, I kind of just, and now I'm much better at doing this than I used to be when I was younger. Like, God, if I was younger, I'd have gone to the next convention and hunted down Michael Close. That would have been the way that I would have dealt with that when I was in my 20s. And thank God I'm very, very different to that person. But now I just, you know, give me a bit of time, let me walk around, let me do my thing, give me a bit of space, and then I'll put it into the boxes and stuff. And then I just said to Peter, "Don't cancel that ad. Just we don't need to do it. Just don't worry about it. Just let it go, because it doesn't warrant a response. If that's his opinion, that's his opinion, and he's entitled to it, and he's expressed it, and whether people listen to it or not is neither here nor there." And then fast forward was it 3 or 4 years? I'm at Magic Live in Las Vegas, and I'm really good friends with lovely guy. I haven't really spent that much time with him, but for whatever reason, we really gel, and he's just so lovely and accommodating and sweet. A guy called Seth Kramer, who is like the trade show man. If there's any, you know, he's like, you know, is it Eddie Tulloch was the he's no longer with us, but he was the trade show guru from before, right? And Seth Kramer is like that person now. And Seth is just so like, gave me, Mark, how you doing? Gave me his book and check it out. Do you do trade shows? Oh, come on, you should get into it. And he's lovely. He goes, "Hey, Mark, you know, do you know Michael?" And I've gone, "Mike." So
I can just imagine.
Right, there's Michael Close, and obviously Michael Close, he's not got, you know, he's not got amnesia. Yeah. He looks at me and he kind of goes, "How you doing?" And then but now I'm just in a different place, and not, you know, I'm. This is 3 years on, and they say there is a cliche, "Time is a healer," and I do think time softens things. I think if we just apply time to so many things in life, just give it a bit of time, you know. You know, whether it's anger, pain, or whatever, just give it a bit of time, confusion, whatever it is, give it a bit of time. And then I just put my hand out and I just went, "I'm good, Michael. Good to see you. How are you?" Shook him by the hand. That was it. We're never going to be friends, but that's it, you know. And that for me was closure. So trolls, criticisms, and things like that. You know, that's how I've dealt with it. I don't know if you've got any other questions about any of that sort of stuff.
I think so. I'm worried about your time, you know, because
No, don't worry. You know, I mean, honestly, you could even, if you look. I did a podcast with Dave Loosely, and conversation went on, and he split it into 2 parts.
I'll just put it on as one. It's well, maybe we'll see. So if you going back to you've been through this massive, it's a cliche, but you know, you've been through the obviously what we've been talking about, the Britain's Got Talent, getting to that fight, you know, then you do the America's Got Talent thing.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So you, is there, and then lockdown. So how was that? Has that messed with? So what's going now? Are you kind of like going, all right? Because it seems like this. It's kind of like you've got this brilliant, and you might not have won, but that we all know that that's still it's not just because you don't want it doesn't go.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
So you're going that, and then somebody goes, "Oh, you can't leave your house."
Yeah, no, totally. But do you know what though? I'll tell you what. Genuinely, I feel you know, my sort of brand in a way has been established. You know, X is really popular. I mean, I've done a couple of Zoom things. I've got, you know, before we went on recording, I turned the thing, I've got green screens and all that kind of stuff in this. I call this a studio. I originally called it an office. And then it was a good friend of mine, Colin, who kind of came with me when I was X, just said to me, because it's more of a studio. You've got a computer in the corner and camera equipment everywhere.
I've been through that exact process.
Yeah. So now I said, I like the sound of studio. It just sounds a little
yeah.
in the studio. So this is now called the Area 50 Studio.
Nice.
So that's the name of it. I was thinking like George Lucas has got like the Skywalker Studios in Elstree. I'm gonna have Area 50 Studio in North London. So
nice.
So that's how we're rolling. But no, so I actually feel more for the guys on BGT this year.
Of course.
Because my brand is established. I've done a couple of really good, I've done a whole presentation pre-recorded as X from here. Green screen, rotating backgrounds, vector graphics and X, voice changer and all this kind of stuff. So I've done that for a company over in Saudi Arabia, which was amazing. Really bizarre doing it. You're just pre-recording all this stuff.
Yeah.
Did a lot of sort of work, not self-work interviews, but sort of like, you know, that sort of like put your finger here and go here and all that kind of stuff. And it worked. They loved it, and did a really sort of philosophical message about their brand and whatever. Then I've done a couple of Zoom performances where I kind of plug the computer into my DSLRs, and I've got like a Rode mic that picks me up ambiently, and then I've done some of that stuff. And I genuinely, I did watch the interview you did with Noel Coulter.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because like I know Noel's a great guy and a very clever guy, and it is true a lot of what he says about the performances. But I have found as well that there is almost a bit of an advantage to doing some Zoom performances as well, because you're this is it. This is what you see. So now my universe, your universe of me is this.
Yeah.
My universe is all the way over there. So I've got the biggest blind spots ever, and there are ways that I can manipulate that. And there's a very famous magician at the moment who has done I'm not going to name names because I love to be a bit you know, but there's a famous magician on YouTube who's got a very good following, very popular, and he has used this environment and technology in the most brilliant way ever. And I can tell you, I'll tell you who off air.
All right. Yeah, good.
Air,
Good.
right?
It'll be one of those teasers. Now I'll get loads of messages saying, tell me.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. No,
I won't. I won't.
I'm not tell him nothing. I'm going to tell him nothing. He's not going to.
No, all right.
So for me, the weirdest thing is, just to go back to 2018 as Marc Spelmann, I did the performance, the one that was, you know, went viral. Then I did the semi-final, and I failed in the semi-final. And what was really weird about the whole thing was when I came out of that, where I'd seen Jamie Raven, you know, doing all these gigs and everything else, it didn't happen like that for me. I came out of that program, and I think a lot of people thought that I was a dad, because they sort of I didn't walk out on stage and go, I've been a magician for 25 years and I'd like to share with you real magic. I didn't do that. I sort of walk out on stage and kind of go, I'm going to do some magic, you know. And I think a lot of people thought, oh, wow, it's his dad that kind of just done a magic trick.
Yeah.
So I think then people just think I went back to being a dad, and like, you know, because we went to Peppa Pig World, and just shortly after the whole of Britain's Got Talent just finished, and people going, oh God, I really wanted you to get through to the final, and you know, do you think you'll carry on doing the magic? And I kept on hearing this. Do you think you'll carry on doing the magic? You were great. And I was like, no, but I do magic. And I said to Tessa, I said, I just don't think people think that I do this for a living. And then we sort of analysed it and watched it back. And then I thought, God, you know, you could actually watch this and go, see the dad do the trick dedicated to it. Brilliant. So there wasn't an influx of gigs or anything like that. It took probably about 3 months after BGT. So we're going into July, August, September, where I was flown to Portugal to do a presentation for a pharmaceutical company that develop medication for children that are fighting cancer, which is next level. And a lot of people ask me, what's one of your proudest moments? That was obviously non-televised, but it was one of the proudest moments. They said that they wanted me to go over there to, they said, we've got a lot of very clever scientists and people that develop the cancer treatments for children. But they're on this end of the spectrum. We want you to bridge the gap between the people that receive the medication and have their lives changed and the people that develop it. These are very sort of scientific, mathematical calculations kind of thing on this side. And over this side, you've got people like you and your wife and other people with children that are fighting leukemias and stuff like that, that are the, benefactors of their work. And we want you to bridge that gap and for everyone. So I went over to Portugal, and this is in September. So you imagine 3 months later, I've finally got this gig where I'm being flown over to Portugal.
For more than 450 quid.
Only a little bit more, actually, wasn't it? It was more the kind of just doing it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it was a little bit more than 450 quid. Let's not ruin the story with figures. So I went over and I did this performance, and at the end of it, genuinely, I was welling up. I said the line at the end, and their marketing team came over and they said, "Can we use some of those lines?" And I was like, "Of course you can." And they said it was you could see that, because I did magic. I performed magic, and at the end I gave this talk. And it was like a sort of 25-minute talk, just me talking about life and experience and this, that, and the other. And I remember trying to write this. It was really weird. I said to Tessa, they want me to do a talk at the end. And I'm sort of watching TED Talks and stuff, going, what I do. And Tessa went to me, "Mark, just talk. Just talk from your heart. Just talk about it, And I went, you got to have some prep, surely. And she went, "No, just talk." And I did. I just went, "Just talk." And I did. And the whole room was in tears. And I said this line at the end, and I said, if it weren't for science, I wouldn't have a daughter. If it weren't, and she's here, she wants to say hello.
Oh, nice.
Isabella, come here, quickly, come and say hello. Come
here. Oh.
I'm talking to her.
Hello, Isabella. Hello, lovely.
Hello to Steve. Hello, Steve. Hello.
How are you? Are you having a lovely day? I'm talking to your magical daddy.
I'm not going to be too long, all right? Yeah. Got him. You go.
I won't keep him too long, lovely.
Don't you worry. Be careful. Let me shut the door for 1 minute. I'm going to shut. Oh, you're going to play outside? Okay, you play outside. I'll leave the door open so you can hear Daddy.
Oh, nice.
Sorry.
Oh, lovely. That was lovely.
So I did this talk. I said, if it weren't for science, I wouldn't have a daughter. Obviously, IVF. And I said, and if it weren't for science, my wife wouldn't be here. And then I had a picture, and I said, so really, for you, indirectly, I want to thank you for providing me with my daughter and my wife. And then just the room just went, oh, man.
Yeah.
And picture of it just came up. And this is one of the weird things as well, just about the audition. Sorry, there's so much to tell you, Steve. Man. We should have done a series.
No, we will. We'll do another one.
But the other thing to tell you was, that moment, you spoke about this at the very, very top end of our conversation, and that was, there was an authenticity to what I did as a performance, because it's real, But that video, it was really weird. You imagine, I edit all my own stuff. So whenever you saw anything of X with the talking head and the big graphics in the background, I do all this stuff at home. Wow. So BGT loved me, because I would just turn up with a USB stick and go, that's even when I did the interactive trick where, you end up on Hope and stuff like that. Yeah. That's done in Photoshop, and I put it into After Effects and all that sort of stuff. But that video, I'd edited that video, and with all the text, and I remember the original one, they just sort of, we really want to get every bit of text up on the screen. We can't have a bit where we're looking at Simon's face and then we're missing a bit of text, because it's all contextual to the big reveal, the story. And so I edited it a number of times, and I'd watched it at least sort of 30, 35 times. Tessa had watched it once or twice, and no one else had seen it. So now you can imagine, it's not that I'm jaded by it, but I've seen it. I know what's coming. I've edited it, Isabella and Hope and everything else. And then when I'm standing on that stage at the London Palladium, they play the video, and that bit where I sort of go to, there's nothing. That's literally a remote control that's got no batteries in it at all. Yeah. It's just, they said, you've got to do something. Yeah. So I was like, well, do that. Yeah. And then they play the video, and they cue the video up and play the video. Anyway, so then as that video played, literally as it starts and the first bit of text, the whole of the Palladium goes, oh,
Yeah, I
You
know.
imagine like 2,500 people all doing that at the same
Yeah.
time, right? And then I'm standing there and I'm looking at the screen. There's a really great shot of me just in
It's
silhouette.
a
Looking,
brilliant shot. I
yeah.
noticed it this morning. Yeah.
And Russ said to me, he goes, "That's the shot." He goes, "That
Yeah.
on a canvas is just a shot that you should have in your house, just as beautiful." Um, and um, and so I'm looking at that image on the screen, and in a nanosecond, I've gone, I've not watched this with anyone else apart from me and Tessa. And now their emotion and me knowing that I'm telling you this story just goes, whoa,
Yeah.
fills up. And in my head, I'm thinking, right, no, I've got to keep this composed. I can't turn around and be going, this blubbering record, like that's the trick. Sorry,
Yeah.
I've got to have some sort of thing where I've got to stay in that mode of like the performance. This is a performance, and that's where it is really authentic, because you see, I walk around and it cuts to Ant and Dec and they're going, wow. And Ant says, wow, emotional. And I walk around to middle and then I do an exhale of air. I blow
Yeah.
out. I go, and in that moment, that is me going,
Yeah.
oh, 1 second. Isabella, Daddy's just speaking with his really good friend, Steve. Right, sorry. I was literally told now to shut the door because everyone can hear me and they're resting because it's a Sunday. 1 second. Right. I'm so sorry.
Brilliant. No, don't apologise. It's great.
If any corporate companies do book me for a Zoom interactive magic experience, this doesn't happen.
That's the humanity. That's the reality.
This is. I'm just being so real right now.
It's authentic.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a really interesting thing to just to mention.
Yeah.
That while watching
Yeah.
the video, because you can plan all you want for how you think that you're going to be in that moment. Oh yeah, it's going to be this, and I'm going to do this, and I've rehearsed a bit with the crayons, and da da da. But you can't plan for the emotion that comes with something that's real.
No, of course.
So yes, that was it. So I went into a bit of a null and void space after BGT 2018, but then as X, it was the polar opposite, and both experiences were very, very different. As X, people can hear this in other places, but very briefly, X, I came up with the notion of going back on the show because I had hidden in Isabella's cot that word hope and the image of John Lennon, and the ending of my performance, the new ending, once they asked me to do that bit at the beginning, blah, 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 was that this is all about hope. We must always have hope in any situation in life. We should always have hope, because that element of having hope pushes you to try more. It's not, don't rely on hope, but have hope to kind of give you that. It just spurs you on. It's like that little gentle push in that direction to try and complete something or be something or do something or say something. So it's a really important element to have in life. But I didn't make it. And I said to Tessa, I really just want to finish the story. And Tessa said, Mark, your time on BGT, it was amazing. You did so much. You went viral and all that. And I said, yeah, I just, and she goes, they wouldn't have you on again, Mark. You can't go on again. So then I got in contact with my agent and just said to my agent, I said, look, is there any legalities that stop me from doing BGT? He goes, Mark, it wouldn't happen again. It really wouldn't. And then I thought to myself, right, let me speak with Russ. So I sent Russ a message and said, Russ, could I? And then Russ was going, Mark, he goes, what you did, it would almost be anticlimactic if you went on again. It'd be like, oh, the guy from last year that did the thing and, whatever, even if they gave you that opportunity. And then I remember saying to Russ, supposing it wasn't me. And then Russ went, what do you mean? I went, well, supposing it wasn't me. Let me get back to you. Hung up the phone. And then I just sat there. I was thinking, what if it wasn't me? And because of the troll situation, because of some of the feedback from some magicians, not all of them, some magicians, where they were saying about, oh God, talk about use a tragic story, to shoehorn into your magic act, which, hopefully having listened to this now, people are aware that that's not quite the case. But I thought to myself, supposing now, let's challenge that consensus, that whole thing of like, well, you've got to have a backstory because that's the only way that you're going to get through to, So I thought, right, okay, let's challenge that. Now let's not have any story. Now let's have me completely incognito. You don't know if I'm a man or a woman. And the reason why the voice is changed on X is originally, X came about, I wrote a television program in 2011 called Prank. And the idea was it was a Banksy. I used to be a graffiti artist when I was a kid. into hip hop and all that kind of stuff. And my art background used to do murals and all that kind of thing, but legal ones. I wasn't sort of on the side of trains or anything like that. And I've always loved Banksy, and I thought, God, Banksy, brilliant magic, you know, like unknown political messages, evoking reactions, you know. And I thought, great, came up with this notion, prank, and did a pitch document, and it was Prank in his normal attire, was hooded, white mask, that's him, but he takes on the guise of all these other people, all these other sort of images and stuff like that, you know, so he could be a taxi driver, whatever. And then literally, I think it was about a year later, ITV did Tricked with Ben Hanlon. And I thought, well, there you go, that's kind of like this incognito magician, although it was a totally different vibe, but it's kind of been done now, you know, with the sort of trigger happy kind of magic show has now been done. And I knew that I would never get it off the ground, so put it in the drawer. And then going through my drawers, just thinking about how could you go on BGT again, I just came across this photoshopped image of me as X, as Prank with this hoodie on. I thought, well, it's not going to be Prank, and I remember that looking up the form to apply again for BGT, and thinking, just X, full name, X. That's what you would do, you know, where it's not. I thought, X, that's it, X. It's going to be X. This is X. This is now X. Took this image over to the house, said to Tessa, I'm going to do it again. Tessa said, what are you talking about? I said, BGT. How are you going to do it? I go, as him. And then she went, really? And she was so not enthused. And just sort of went, how on earth, from being the dad with the story, the emotion, and all of that authenticity, to now being a white mask, hooded non-entity, how's anyone going to connect with that? And I said to Tessa, the way that they're going to connect with X is not by who X is or where X has been, but what X says about them. And then that was it. And then I started and she said, they're going to recognize your voice. So I went, right, distort my voice. Went on to After Effects, Premiere Pro, and I'm putting the voice in, distorting it all and stuff. And it just sounded horrific. I'm looking at this hooded white face with this voice going, that is petrifying. Like, because, you know, you distort your voice in any way. You either sound like Mickey Mouse on Helium, or you sound like the devil. Right?
The devil.
This isn't going to work. And then a friend of ours, Mel, I just said to Mel, I said, Mel, do me a favor. I'm going to tell you something really top secret. Don't tell anybody. Come and read these lines. She read these lines. She goes, what is this? Lovely. All this sort of like about being one and united and stuff. And I said, just read it into this mic. Distorted her voice, and it worked. And psychologically, and I said this on a couple of podcasts, if you take your worst monster, the thing that scares you the most, imagine lying in bed, this thing at the end of your bed, now give it a female voice, and immediately it lessens. Doesn't completely take away from it being a bit odd at the end, you know, but it certainly dilutes it because of, you know, the sort of a female voice, you know. So that was it. So that's how X had all that. And that was my reason for going on again, was one, to finish the story, and two, was to just challenge a consensus. And I got to the final with nothing, with people wondering if, I mean, I had people saying, are you Dynamo? Is X Dynamo? You know, is it Darren Brown? Really? These guys, they're all good. They're all right. I mean, I think they're busy, you know. Being the sponsors of Pepsi and, you know, like stuff. They're all right. So that was it. So I mean, obviously Russ was like great for getting me through the door, and also as well, my real name, for those that don't know, my real name is not Marc Spelmann. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a stage name. So when I applied again, a lot of people go, but how could he apply again?
Nice.
Whatever. My name's not Spelmann. So
brilliant.
You know, and these programs are very much like it is a conveyor belt. I mean, like at the end of, I mean, we were doing the semi-finals as X, and they're planning this year. You know,
of course.
Right, you've got the researchers are out. You know, do you want to be on BGT? And like, cause they've got to. It's this ever sort of this machine that keeps on going. So so that was it. So then coming out as X, it was the polar opposite as Marc Spelmann, because now I think a lot of people didn't even see the final. So and it was really weird. I did a corporate over in China, of all places. So I was in China, in Hangzhou in China, doing this corporate event. And at the end of the performance, I took the mask off. I said, thank you very much. And half the people in the room went,
oh, really?
well, is, and then I sort of, and they said, you know, can you sign stuff? And it was lovely. I mean, God, it's such a weird world to be in. And I was, yeah, of course you can, all that. I could not, but I with your daughter, and it was amazing, and did not know. And I go, did you not? And I thought, and then Colin said to me, who's always with me now, he helped me out as X. He was with me the whole way through, spoke for me. I was always dressed as X on set all the
And
time.
who's that, Colin?
Colin Klaus.
Yeah.
So he's always been with me, and he comes with me as X and does a lot of my tech stuff. And he said to me, because, but in theory, if you think about it, Mark, if they've watched the audition as X with Ant and Dec and the whole touchy bit, and then the semi-finals with the Instagram revelation and stuff, if they miss the final, then how would they know that it's you? And I was like, yeah, so true. So that was it. So yeah, so in China we did that, and yeah, the brand of X really has gone well. In January I was in Dubai for like 4 days doing performances as X. So it's been polar opposite, completely different experience in so many ways as X and Marc Spelmann, because you imagine as Marc Spelmann, I did endless interviews as well. After that audition, you know, like every news, there was one point I was on the phone in the living room doing a conference call. And the way that it works in these programs is you'll first of all get a phone call from a representative from BGT, the legal team. And they said, right, okay, Mark, just to let you know, right, we've got John from The Sun, The Mirror, the Metro, and da-da-da-da-da and all that. And they're all going to be firing questions at you. I'm here to intervene if they ask a question that we don't want you to talk about.
Yeah.
And they go, can punch them through right now. Like that. And then now you're sitting there and you're in a virtual room with all these people doing these interviews. But the great thing was, and it was relentless. I mean, it really was full on. As X, it was, again, polar opposite. I did no interviews because X doesn't talk to anybody. He doesn't talk to anybody. So there was no photo ops. There was no, we did OK Magazine. But we did OK Magazine. You know, it's like it is so hard. Like
with a mask, making a cup of tea and stuff.
No, not as X. No, as Marc Spelmann.
I was going to say,
yeah, X standing by the fireplace with a cigar. You know,
Look, I love it.
The wardrobe with all his masks. Which one shall I wear?
Very funny.
So no, polar opposite, and equally coming out of it was polar opposite experience as well. You know, the work was relentless, and that's partly why things like the merchandise and stuff like that has taken so long for me to do. If you look at X's website, it's still a prototype. It's still just like a minimal website, and that's because the work has been absolutely relentless. And then obviously, you know, we come along to lockdown. I was supposed to be in Wales for another company, and then in Germany doing another one, and all of those are being not cancelled, thankfully. They constantly come back. My agent comes back and says, what's your date availability in September, and what's your date availability in October? So they're all still happening. And I think, you know, going on to the subject of this crazy situation that we're in, I've had so many conversations with people about, like, what do you think the future is going to be like, especially for us, you know, for us, the entertainment industry as a whole. And I think, you know, now on the other side of everything me and Tessa have gone through and all those things, I now I'm not a glass is half empty. I'm leaning more towards glass is half full. But I'm closer to that. I'm still not quite there, but I am close to that. And I kind of think to myself, you know, what's everything that's happening at the moment with COVID and coronavirus and that. I think it's a massive wake up call in terms of how, as human beings, what we do to the environment, all the things that we do. And I think obviously a lot of focus has been obviously on the wet markets of China and how this bacteria has traveled about. But I even think that when you look at our own sort of agricultural ways of producing food and things, you know, with cows and locked up in pens, fed steroids so that they can produce milk and artificially fooling their metabolisms into thinking that they're, you know, pregnant, and that's why they produce milk, loads and loads of milk, so we can all have our milk in the mornings and stuff. I think there's questions to be raised across the board, and of course you have to go where, you know, the main threat has come from. But I do think it would be wonderful if we could all take a look at all aspects of how we live our lives and how we can make things better. You know, you know, like even the environment, you know, it's, you know, and it's easy to sort of go, yeah, but what changes can I make? But I think if we all have that
Yeah.
opinion, then nothing changes, you know. But I like to think that the moment I tend to think, conversation last night actually about once a vaccine is available, and who knows when, where, what, you know, it's all sort of speculation. But I think once a vaccine, if you gave me the vaccine as, Mark, this is 100% safe for you to take, you will be completely, you know, no coronavirus, anything like that, I'd take it. And then I couldn't care less if you've got coronavirus, because I've just taken a vaccine where I can't be fearful of something I can't get, you know, otherwise we'll drive ourselves mad. And that's maybe my glass half full mind is leaning towards. And I think that if there is this vaccine that everyone can have, then I do think we will go back to normal, certainly in places. I live in London, so certainly in the big cities, I think that they will go back to maybe a new normal is the way to be. But I think theatres they're already, from day one of the whole virus thing, I was going, when they were talking about social distancing, you know, we'll have to social distance until a vaccine is available. And I thought to myself, yes, obviously we can apply that in certain areas, but it just does not work it can't work in London, because if you say, as an example, we've got to get people back, there's not an endless pot of money, we've got to get people back, you know, infrastructures have to work, we are all part of this big machine. And then I think to myself, you know, so how do people get to work? So if you're saying about tube train social distancing, I've got a good friend of mine who worked on the Jubilee line extension in London, and he said, if you back up people getting on a train, you know, what do you do now? Allocate certain points where they can or cannot get on that train. You've got your tickets now timed. That would be crazy. So now everyone at work times would have to be changed. It'd be mental. It'd be crazy. So I think that up until that point, I think that now they've just said face mask wearing is going to be compulsory on any sort of public transport until a vaccine is available. And I think that is going to be something that we'll have to get used to. And I think theatres could reopen. I mean, with that in mind, I think obviously people that do Card in Mouth or Wayne Houchin's French Kiss are going to obviously have to put that on the back burner for a while. But I think it can work. And I think that will be the new normal until a vaccine's in place. And that's what I hope. I can't see how being in a theatre for an hour and a half next to people all wearing masks, comfortable face masks or whatever, for that period of time is any different to being on a tube train for an hour travelling from one end of a line to another. I can't see how that's going to be any different with a constant change and influx of people. In a theatre, it's kind of that's your group of people for that period of time. So
and we'll adapt. I mean, I think that there are a lot of people are being very understandably, you know, it's all over. You know, that you know, you say your glass half empty, but I think that there's a I always talk about the stoic view of you prepare for the worst. You're not mindlessly optimistic, saying it's all going to be brilliant, but you sort of rehearse mentally the worst case scenario, and then you work with what you've got. And I think that's all we can do. You know, we can't spend too much time in. I mean, you know this from what you've been through and your family. You can't spend too much time in what if. You know, you have to go with what's happening.
Yeah.
On many levels. And I think even on, you know, going back to performing, you know, we go back to what if my trick goes wrong? What if my trick goes wrong? What if my trick goes wrong? Well, it then clouds the whole experience for you and for everybody else. And again, I think your story, whether it's Britain's Got Talent, whether it's your family, whether it's you talking about coming up with an idea, where you come up, it's that possibility is always there. But we draw from each other's stories and we stay in working with what we've got and staying positive, not minded optimistic, but positive, and accepting failure if it happens. And I think that what you've talked about is draws on all of that, which is why I think it's so important to talk about. And thanks for being so so open with that. And I hope that people take that from this as well.
Yeah, no, I hope so. And also as well, just before we finish, just about you and your videos and stuff. I sort of touched on it at the beginning. You know, fair shout to you for your videos as well, because you know, you say this is a small channel, and you know, and obviously there are people. Oh God, you want to see my YouTube channel? It's tiny. It's like I've put no effort into it. I've dreamt about it loads and thought about it, but just still don't do anything. And I've got a studio as well. Tessa says to me, "What stops you doing a YouTube video?" I go,
Yeah.
"Just me.
A career?
I've got everything I need right here." And now I've got time. Well, actually, no. In saying that, I've got less time than I had,
Yeah.
which sounds weird, but I
No,
live.
me too.
I'm homeschooling Isabella.
Yeah.
Tess is able to still work kind of, and but for me, there's a couple of Zoom gigs and whatever. But other than that, I'm homeschooling, and I'm actually really loving it.
Great.
Yeah, she's really good fun. But your videos and what you've kind of given, you know, anyone that's watching this, I don't. Are your videos still available? Are they still up? Or
Or the Facebook ones, the daily ones.
yeah, the daily ones that you did, were they only on Facebook?
Yeah, they're on my personal Facebook, and they're on my. I put most of them on my speaker trainer coach, which I never really use. It's my page, you know, my Facebook with the training stuff. But they're on there. Steve Fulton, the speaker trainer coach. But
Yeah,
yeah,
what we'll do, guys, is we'll put a link underneath.
like and subscribe.
No, yeah, because no, but honestly, I would watch them. I would, because I work a lot. I'm doing design work and stuff, and what I tend to do a lot of the time, I listen to podcasts, or I put stand-up comedy on a lot of times. Hence, being a big Ricky Gervais fan and stuff, you can listen to that and just laugh. And what your videos were one of the ones that I'd go, Steve's done another one. I'd pop it on and I'd sit there and work away and just listen to you talk. And I just thought that there was a real honesty with a lot of the things that you were speaking about. And I think that's not an easy thing to do, to be honest and authentic and be real, because you put a camera in front of most people and you kind of go, oh, you know. But you know, so there was a real honesty to your videos. So you know, I jumped at the chance to come and talk to you, mate, because
well, thanks, man.
I respect you as a magician, and I respect you as a human being as well.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Well, let's do it again. You know, like so, because there's a lot more to talk about. But I appreciate. I'm praying now that, because there's a thing popped up and said we're signing you out of Zoom, which is I've got a paid account, but it didn't, and it's still recording. So I'm praying that I don't. Can you imagine?
If it just cuts,
don't
worry.
But thank you so much. Just quickly, where do you want people to go and watch your stuff, or have you got anything on at the moment that you want people to know about? The podcast.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we do a podcast. So Peter and I do a podcast, which originally was going to start being very magic-y.
Yeah.
And then we realised that we just sort of chat and it's almost like catch up, and we talk about like what films we like and all this sort of nonsense. So that's called Wizards, Whiskey and Waffle, and you'll find that on your favourite podcast supplier.
Yeah, I'll put some links below.
Yeah, we're on all the platforms, I believe, and it is literally, we have a whiskey at the beginning of every one. I don't know if we should condone that sort of thing, but we do, and then just chat for about 45 minutes, and that's that. But Instagram, you can find me as I am Spelmann, and that's 1 L 2 N's in Spelmann. I am Spelmann, or I am Magician X on Instagram. Same on Facebook, same on Twitter, and on YouTube. I think it is it's either Marc Spelmann or I am Spelmann. But you'll find.
Cool. Yeah, I'll put the links down.
Cool. Lovely. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Steve.
No, love to the family, and I wish you all the best for the near future.
Yeah, love to you too, mate. Love to you and yours, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
Take care.
Bye.
So thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed that. And huge thanks, obviously, to Marc for spending the time and being so open. For me, that makes a huge difference, and it makes it an absolute joy to do. And I hope you found that as inspiring as I did. So again, like, subscribe, check out all of Marc's stuff below. Check out the Wizards, Whiskey and Waffle. I think that's, again, the right way around. It might not be, but you know what I mean? The links are below. Have a look at it. Follow Marc on social media and follow his continuing journey. And have a great one. Check out cardmagiccourse.com, of course, because that's what one day may pay for all this, and I can do loads and loads of reviews and interviews in the future. So have a great one. Stay safe, be happy, and again, thank you to Marc Spelmann.